Sure.
So my name is Tiffany Davila. I'm the Public Affairs Officer for the Arizona Department of Forestry and Fire Management. I'm also the Public Information Officer attached to the Diamond Fire.
I'm Captain Dave Folio with the Scottsdale Fire Department, Public Information Officer.
So the latest overnight that we know, the fire is still at about 2,500 to 3,000 acres. We are going to get our air attack platform up in the air this morning, kind of give us a better visual from the air, give us a better estimate of the fire, where the fire went overnight. What I can tell you is crews were very successful overnight. A hotshot crew, along with 2 state hand crews, were able to get around the entire fire. So they have line in, and they're working right now to just make sure that line is secure. As our temperatures heat up this morning, we may start to see flare-ups within the interior of the fire. There are still some pockets of fuel that have to burn. So people in this area may see flames, may see smoke as we start to warm up. There are red flag warnings. Fire weather conditions exist today. So we just want to remind folks that even though they don't see smoke now, as we start to warm up, as we start to get in that critical fire weather time frame, we could likely start to see that fire activity increase with flames visible and smoke.
And you said you got a line around the entire fire. If that line holds, would that be considered containment?
At some point, yes. So right now there is 0% containment because they're still actively working to make sure that line is holding, especially with the fire weather that's coming in today. We want to make sure that line can hold in the wind. But they were very successful overnight. We still have crews working to do structure protection around some of the homes. The McDowell Mountain Regional Park is closed. Also some parks, some trails within the Scottsdale trail system, like Tom's Thumb, those are also closed. So people, before they go out, please check with the city of Scottsdale to make sure that those areas aren't shut down. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office will be patrolling the road behind us, which is Dynamite, the Dynamite Rio Verde corridor, to make sure people aren't coming back into the area. We do know that one secondary structure was destroyed yesterday. Again, because of the fire activity yesterday and just the conditions that existed, we couldn't get in to do a fire assessment, a damage assessment. But we do know one secondary structure was destroyed.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about strategy for today, trying to put this out?
So again, we'll have people starting to mop up. We have crews. We probably have about 5 or 6 hand crews right now. There's about 20 crew members per hand crew. So they'll be, again, ensuring that line is strong and will hold in the winds today. Crews will continue to do structure protection for some homes behind us and then ahead of the fire, just in case something happens with that wind today. But again, we were very successful overnight. The crews made excellent progress. And right now things are looking pretty good. But again, we just have to cross our fingers and see what this afternoon is going to hold for us.
1,000 evacuated with the evacuees. Are you going to let them back in?
That's up to Fire Command. About 1,100 people were evacuated last night, especially in that subdivision where the fire started. So as soon as it's safe and secure, again, people might not see smoke right now, but that doesn't mean there's still fire activity. And that will just be assessed on an hour-by-hour basis.
Any update on personnel? Do you still have more than 200?
We're probably at about 300 personnel right now. We ordered some more hand crews this morning, some more engines. We're probably not going to use the heavy air tankers today unless conditions warrant the heavy air tankers. But again, we'll have our air attack platform. They're like our eyes in the sky, and they'll help us assess the conditions from the air.
So are evacuations still in place just for that one particular area? Are they in set mode?
So evacuations that were last night are still in place. That's why we're going to kind of beef up the patrols with MCSO just along this corridor to make sure people aren't coming back in and aren't entering trails and park systems that aren't accessible at this time.
What should homeowners do?
As far as
Just keeping contact with?
So they can check with the Maricopa County Emergency Management Office, they can check with MCSO, they can check with Scottsdale Police. We don't order evacuations as fire personnel, we just tell law enforcement when it's time, when those trigger points are met, so that we can evacuate people safely and in a timely manner.
How about the drone situation? I know yesterday you had warned about seeing multiple in the area. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's really important. Thank you for bringing that up. We had multiple drones impacting our fire perimeter yesterday. We found out after the fact, after we were flying heavy aircraft. That is a dangerous situation situation for people to be flying drones. If we find you with a drone in our airspace, and we do have a TFR in place, if we find you with a drone in our airspace, we have to ground all aircraft. It's a huge safety issue for not only the pilots flying those planes, for our crews on the ground, the public, and also we're trying to protect property. So if we have to ground aircraft, that means we're not working that fire actively and successfully. So please, no photo, no video is worth somebody's life.
Causation?
The fire is under investigation at this time.
Just so we're getting the perimeter right, it's 130th to 160th, Joe Max to Reed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Did you have to ground any aircraft yesterday? You said you weren't having to pack them.
We didn't have to ground any aircraft yesterday. We grounded them at night. We always have to, just because they can't fly at night. But this morning we will be actively paying attention. If we need law enforcement out there, we will get law enforcement out in the area.
Are construction crews still working in the area where it started, 128 and Ranchgate?
That I don't know at this time, but we will again have police and law enforcement actively patrolling the area.
So just to confirm, you said about 2,500 acres still burned at this time, and at this time also 0% containment.
Correct. Even though we do have line around the fire and they were very successful overnight, we want to make sure those lines are going to hold through the wind event today and the fire weather that's expected.
I know when we talked a little bit about damage, you said one secondary structure has been damaged at this point that you can confirm. Are you expecting at least other damage to homes at this point, or structures, or you just don't know?
I mean, obviously we hope not, but again, because of the activity, because of the amount of smoke that was coming off that fire yesterday, even our aircraft was having a hard time, our air attack platform was having a hard time getting a visual of what was on the ground. So again, right now we do know the air attack had confirmed one secondary structure.
Mr. Folio indicated yesterday the last 5 fires were caused rebar cutting. Is there any talk on ways to mitigate that through Scottsdale permitting?
So through our permitting process, we do send letters out, and we also do site inspections, and we've done a lot of site inspections out there. So we just want to remind our construction crews that are working in the city of Scottsdale and all over the valley, we're in an urban interface environment, right? So take caution, have a hose line out if you're going to cut steel, have an area away from the brush, and so there's alternatives, right? So, and then we just want to remind our public too, get that defensible space and help us out. We're in a season now where we've had a wet winter, and the brush is thick. And just do it with a defensible space and help us out. 15 to 30 feet around your home, clear out the dead brush. And we're a fire-wise community, so what's helped us out up here too a lot is a lot of our communities are fire-wise. So we get in there and help them and assist them with the risk assessment on a lot of the structures. And we're also doing that currently with 3 brush trucks that are out roaming the area in North Scottsdale.
And with that being said, too, we are under fire restrictions in Maricopa County on state trust land. We're in fire restrictions pretty much across the entire state, with the exception of southern Arizona. And that's just not on state trust land. That's parts of Bureau of Land Management, the U.S. Forest Service. So people really need to be mindful of what they're doing and where they're doing it at. Because even though we had all of this moisture over the last couple of months, we have that potential for fire activity right now with the amount of fuel that's on the ground.
Are you guys using any kind of new technology to help fight this one? I know there was some talk of using AI or other kind of situations. Is there any new technology in this firefight?
Not at this time, at least not for this fire right now.
Any idea when we could get another update, when you might know about acreage or containment?
Hopefully, if we get our aircraft up in the air very soon, probably in the next few hours, we would have an update on acres.
Access to water. I mean, the fire started in Scottsdale, and there's been a big uproar about Scottsdale providing water to this community. Now there's a fire, no water.
We have, I don't want to get involved with all of that water situation, but what I can tell you is we have plenty of resources. We've got aircraft at our disposal with the retardant. We've got plenty of reservoirs we can pull out of the lakes if we need helicopter sites for dipping. We've got pumpkins set up for just that same thing also. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, guys. So as you guys have just heard, that was the official update as of right now. They
Fire officials were speaking on an update on the Diamond Fire. I'm Emily Pritchard here with 12 News. We're putting up this QR code that you can scan to get the very latest fire information. What officials just told us, they were very successful overnight, but they say they have to cross their fingers for what this afternoon holds. Again, we were just listening to that update. They say that they are actually increasing the number of firefighters they have helping to fight the Diamond Fire. They've now bumped this up to 300 personnel. Evacuations are still in place, and parks and Tom's Thumb Trailhead are all closed due to this firefight that's happening right now. That shelter that's in place is being hosted by the Red Cross, and it's happening at Cactus Shadows High School, and personnel is beefing up patrols in the area where this fire, the Diamond Fire, is happening. They say they're going to be monitoring the area, making sure that people that aren't supposed to be there are not there. And what we've learned about the damage that's been done so far by the Diamond Fire, we've been told it is 0% contained right now, and one secondary structure has burned. That's all they know about at this moment. Of course, they remind people this is why defensible space around your property is so important, stressing to make sure to have that 30 to 40 feet of space. That way it will help out fire crews if a wildfire ever pops up in your area. Again, we are monitoring the very latest on the Diamond Fire here for you on 12 News. We'll always have the latest on 12news.com inside the free 12 News app. And we'll be back in about 15 minutes here with another update during the Today Show.